Good morning on this wonderful morning in March. This is Gabe O'Neill, and we're here with our Mondays Live at 11 show. This week we have Carolle Ryan, and she is the accounting ninja. So we're going to learn all kinds of stuff that we should be doing in our businesses that we're probably not. So let me get right into it. Carolle has been an accountant for over 30 years. She's currently the owner of Liberty Tax Service in Newport Richey. That's in Florida, right?
That's in
And
Florida. Yep.
yep, and has a staff of 4 accountants and tax ninjas that do bookkeeping, payroll, taxes of all types, tax planning, business startups, and tax resolution. Her passion is assisting small businesses to get off to the right start. She is the accountant ninja, and of course, to get to her service, to get her, you can text the word ninja to 21,000. However, I will make a stipulation about that. Currently, our system is experiencing difficulties. The system that we use to text the keyword, it is down. However, if you've never texted Carol's keyword before, when the system returns back up, you will indeed receive her digital card. So it might take a bit because they're expecting that the service to be restored today, and that goes back into my mention of the sponsor, which is Digital Accelerant. That is my company. We create custom digital business cards for people that that have a wide variety of features that help people get business by not only by texting to deliver it, but it's also that there are analytics in the back end. They're all custom done. They elevate your digital profile. They make you memorable, and they're very unlike any other digital card out in the market. So, having said that, welcome, Carolle. How are
Thank
you?
you, Gabe. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. So, how long have we known each other now? Has it been a year yet? I mean,
Yeah, it's been maybe just a little bit over a year
yeah,
in that range. Yes.
right. I mean, and you're the I see you as an accountant that doesn't, you're just more, you've got more personality than most accountants that I know. And that's the part
True.
that's the part that I like. So, but anyway, well, let's get into it. And I have a guy working with me that's been working with me for a long time, and I mean, part this has to do with your LLC or S corp question. Right now, I'm an LLC, right?
Mhm.
But as a self-employed person, when you make a bunch of money, you get into a much higher tax bracket because of that 15% tax that gets taken off automatically. Correct?
Well, you end up with Social Security and Medicare tax on your bottom line, plus your federal withholding, depending on what bracket you end up in.
Right.
So you could end up anywhere 15, 22, 25%, depending on how much your income is.
Right. And so, is that the reason to go to an S corp, or because I've heard that people that go to an S corp end up saving a lot of money.
Yeah, basically what happens is when you become an LLC, you have a choice of two different ways to file your taxes, or actually three if you have a partner.
Right.
The first way is a sole proprietor if you're by yourself, where you fill out a Schedule C on your taxes, and then the bottom line after your expenses, you pay all of your Social Security, Medicare, and then it goes on to the rest of your income to pay federal withholding taxes. It can
Hmm.
be quite expensive if you are making a lot of money.
Right.
If you're a partner, then you would do a partnership return, and the same thing would happen. The bottom line of it, half would go to you and half would go to your partner, or if you had multiple partners, however the ratio is. And then to be able to file as an S corporation. One of the reasons that is good is it kind of keeps people in control. You can do payroll on a weekly, biweekly, or even a monthly basis. So that way your taxes are being paid as you go along. And the other half of the taxes gets to be a business expense for you. You also then become an employee of your corporation. So you pay unemployment and state and federal unemployment tax on it. And what that virtually means is that when times of crisis, like we just came off of with COVID, you can go and collect unemployment without having a major hassle. Or if the business doesn't work and you terminate it, something happens, you can go collect unemployment. So there are good employee benefits. You can also do different kinds of retirement packages. Having retirement accounts, you can have your health insurance paid for by the corporation. You can even do things like have your education paid for, have your you can do a plan, a high deductible insurance plan, and have the business put into the healthcare savings account for you. So there's a lot of different things that you can do once you become a corporation. You can also purchase a car and have it be under the corporate name, and then a percentage of it would get charged to you every year for your personal use. But the rest of it, depending on what kind of business you have, it could be very lucrative having your car put into your business's name. So there's a lot of different packages that people can do to save money. And they can also take a form that they call owner's distributions that they can take out without paying tax on it, but they can only do that after they've taken the proper amount of payroll. And that's a touch and go area, reasonable compensation for an SCorp, but there's usually there is a chart that the federal and state governments put out of what the average is of what people in your type of business make. And so if you're taking that amount for payroll, then you can take the rest of it as distributions, and you're not going to pay Social Security and Medicare on it. So there are a lot of tax savings examples for it.
Okay, so there's a lot there.
There is a lot, but the bottom line is that if you're making a lot of money, it's better to become, bottom line, I say, it's better to become an SCorp and do payroll than get into tax trouble with the IRS.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And I heard that because I'm actually looking at this right now myself, and I heard the deadline to apply for that is March 15th. Is that correct?
Is March 15th. You can, a good accountant can make a little, can actually put the form with your first return for an SCorp, but it is best to get it done by March 15th.
Oh, I see. And what's involved in changing over?
The only thing involved is a form that goes to the IRS, giving them the names and social security numbers of the shareholders of the company. And then they will send you a letter back saying that they accept it. And then that's all that's involved in it. It's a one form application.
Something that's pretty easy to do then.
Very simple to do.
Okay, very good. So stepping back a bit, if I were to start a business, what steps should I take?
Well, there's a lot of people out there right now coming off of COVID that decided that they didn't want to go back into their offices. They want to stay at home and start up their own business. And the first thing that I advise for them is to have a good business plan. The SBA is a wonderful place to start with that, where usually in every community, the SBA has a lot of retired business people that will help other people get into business the right way and help them plan out, the steps that they're going to do and plan out the money. And that's where one of the big things that I see is that a lot of people, for example, in the sales field, selling a service, doing marketing, doing coaching, doing things of that nature, they come up with this idea of, this is how much I'm going to charge for it, and this is how many clients that I need to make the kind of money that I want to make. But they forget to fill in their expenses on the in between.
Right.
And so then they come down to where they hit a 3-month or a 4-month or a 5-month part, where all of a sudden it's like they're searching for money. They're looking to get money from a bank, and a bank won't give it to them because they don't have the tax returns and the plans for it. And so they start borrowing money from, family members, or taking money out of a 401k. And those are all kinds of things that I advise against. That, the first thing that they need to do, besides have a business plan of how you're going to sell your business and what you're going to do in it, you need to pay special care that you have a budget going forward that is realistic. Telephone costs you money, your electric, your computers. What happens if your printer breaks? You need to buy paper and ink, which are very expensive things right now. So there's a lot of factors involved in planning, and the people that do budgets actually sit down and do a budget of their expenses are the people that end up succeeding.
Okay. And so you mentioned the SBA, that's the Small Business Association.
Yes.
And there's also, do you recommend people contacting SCorp as well?
SCorp, yeah, that's usually when you go to the SBA, that's the first place that they will find an area SCorp to send you. Like right here in Newport Richey, we have a SCorp, and they have a think tank, and they actually have offices set up that people can, if they just need a small office, that they can rent from them and they can use. And so, yeah, SCorp is a wonderful place to get started.
Gotcha. Very good. And so right now I'm starting to branch out myself. At what point, and I'm using independent contractors. At what point should I start using? Should I hire people and have them be employees? Do you think?
Well, the line between employees and independent contractors is a very gray area. And in Florida, they have a whole listing of if you're a person, if you tell them where they have to work, when they have to work, and you're providing them the tools, then they're an employee, and they're not an independent contractor.
Right.
So people need to be very careful with that. And if they have a lot of questions about it, places to reach are, like me, your area accountant. They can also reach out to places like the Department of Revenue in the state that they live in. And they're always more than happy to give you a list of everything that qualifies you, people to be an independent contractor. And like for myself, as an example, I don't do independent contractors, and I don't do remote people because I have a big office and I need to secure people's data. I'm very, very careful in that area. And so I want my people working in my office where I know that all of my data is secure. So because I'm doing that, I cannot subcontract them. They have to be on payroll. But if I had, say, a marketing person that goes out and goes business to business in the areas and does social media marketing and things of that nature, and they don't come in my office, say, for example, they're where you are in Georgia, and they're doing social media marketing and things like that for me, then they would be an independent contractor.
Right. I have a graphic artist that I have that she's in Detroit, and she just does all the stuff that she needs to do.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so she fits the bill for an independent
Right.
contractor. And they want them to have like their own businesses set up, like as an LLC, or they can even be just a sole proprietor.
Right.
But as long as they have like a federal ID and a license, business license is one of the big things that they look for, that the states look for is that somebody has a business license.
Interesting. So what if they didn't? What if they were just doing this as a hobby?
Well, then that's another line. A hobby doesn't make money. They still should have a business license. In your local, like I know for here in Pasco County, a Pasco County business license is like $22 a year.
Right.
So it's not expensive to get one, and they kind of protect themselves as being self-employed by doing that.
Right. But when I was in Maryland, and I'm now in Georgia. But when I was in Maryland, I used to be a sole proprietor, and you didn't need to declare anything. You just could just declare yourself as a sole proprietor. I don't remember registering with anybody.
Yeah,
Is that
you may not have, but then depending on how long ago it was, it's not like it is right now where there's
okay?
a lot of people. What's going on right now is there's a lot of people crossing that gray line,
I gotcha.
and they're actually taking people that should be employees and they're treating them as subcontractors.
Gotcha.
And so that's where it starts to get a little sticky.
That makes sense. So what if I have QuickBooks and I'm handling everything myself? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It can be a good thing as long as you're balancing your books and doing everything the right way. We see a lot of people that, that come to us to get their tax returns done, and they're like, well, here's a piece of paper with the numbers written down on it. And as a matter of fact, we have a fella that's undergoing he hires us to do payroll, but he's just like that with QuickBooks. He does his own thing, and now he's being audited by the state unemployment, and they want to see a profit and loss, and he doesn't want to give them one, and for various reasons. And the onus falls on him now, because they're going to rate him at the highest rate for unemployment for his employees. So there can be good things and bad things. I don't have anything bad to say about people doing their own thing, as long as they're doing it the right way, that they're balancing their bank accounts and doing it the right way going forward. But the one question that I always have for them is, well, couldn't you be better spending your time working, getting more clients and doing your background work than sitting there and balancing bank statements and
right? That stuff that does take
and
time.
tackling all of that, depending on what type of business you have, that could take up an hour or two of your time every week. And could that be better spent? Could it be better spent doing some R&R where you can relax for a couple of hours and not be thinking about your business?
Right.
It's in the eye of the beholder.
Or just to become more efficient. I think when I started using a graphic artist to do my digital cards, not only did the work get better, I mean, the cards looked nicer, but it freed me up to do other stuff that I couldn't get to quick enough. So it's, I think it's just about running an efficient business. I think that's part of it.
Yeah. And I mean, and I look at you, Gabe, and you're the face of your company. And so there's nobody better to sell it than you, for the most part. So that's maybe an hour or two a week that you could be selling and making a lot more money. Bookkeeping's not that expensive.
Right. Gotcha. Um, so what if I think I just did that one. So many people do their taxes. I think my daughter does that. They do their taxes online for free. What are the pros and cons of that?
Well, I think everybody who has just like one or two W-2s and they're computer literate, that there's no problem with it whatsoever. Our franchise even has a free site that people can go on. And one of the things that's good with if you go out and you use the Liberty one online is that if you have a problem with it and you get stuck, the closest office to you can download it into their office and can fix it for you.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, the Liberty, the TurboTax, all of these companies out there, they're good for people that have simple returns. But once you start getting into businesses and investments and rental properties and things of that nature, you're really better off having somebody else do it for you, because the laws are ever changing and we get schooled every year for at least 20 to 25 hours before every tax season on
Mm-hmm.
all of the changes, and we will find things for you that you overlook. Or what happens a lot too is we will stop you from claiming things that you're not entitled to.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah, and you can do taxes, and can you do taxes outside of Florida?
I can do taxes all over the country. I have clients in Alaska and New York and California, Virginia, Georgia, all over the place. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where anyone is located. We can do their state taxes. We can do their corporate taxes. Everything that they need, we can do in one place.
But I didn't know you did payroll. So how does that work?
The same way as everything else, we are actually a back end broker for ADP,
Uh-huh.
and so we get outrageously good prices, which I can pass on to clients. And so we do most of our payroll through them, as long as the pricing is feasible for them. And then even if not, we do it in-house. We do payroll in-house for some clients where it's not feasible for us to go through ADP. And we do all of their state taxes and their state unemployments and all of those type things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. Um, what else do you have to add to as advice for business owners that are kind of mucking around in today's climate?
Well, I work with a lot of realtors too. I
Mhm.
speak at teach a class at the West Pasco Board of Realtors. And one of the things that I always tell people is make sure that you file. People get in business and they run amok and they get all messed up in things. And then they say, oh, this is a mess and I don't have time for it. And next thing you know, it's been 2 years, it's been 3 years, it's been 4 years. And then all of a sudden they're getting letters in the mail from the IRS saying, you got to file this return, or, you owe us $50,000, or,
Right.
all of these things. And that's the biggest tip that I give people is, number one, if you owe money, there's a lot of us out there. There's people like me. We can turn around and get you into a program where we can deal with the IRS, where we can do offer in compromise or put you in uncollectible if you're retired and don't have a lot of income.
Right.
We can do payment plans for people. And the biggest thing is don't let it go. I have a client in my office right now that hasn't filed corporate returns for 10 years.
Oh, jeez.
He is spending, I can't even begin to tell you how much money he's spending at the bank getting copies of checks, because
Wow.
because he didn't have his bank statements, he didn't have copies of checks, and he is the bank is going to own him when they're done, because he's going to owe more money to the bank than he's probably going to owe to us to catch up. And so don't get
Crazy.
into, and I guess maybe what I'm saying is, right now you might be the size of a marble with a problem, but don't have it get to be as big as a snowman, because
Yeah.
it'll run you right over, and you'll have problems, and they get worse as they go on. So that's really what my biggest thing is for people right now is, I hate to see people not get started out right. Even if you've made a mess out of your first year in business, don't run from it. Call me. I can help you. We can get you out of it and get you on the path to success.
Um, yeah, well, that's really good advice. I just can't imagine anybody just not filing for 10 years and
Yeah. Well,
just expecting nothing's going to happen, right? They just, oh,
well,
I'll deal with it later, kind of thing.
well, they know it's going to happen, and that's what scares them.
Right.
And they get, they get scared at the end of one year going, well, yeah, and they start looking around. It's like, yeah, I made all this money and I did this and I did that. Kind of like the people that win the lotteries. Had a lottery winner come in our office last week. He won a scratch off. He was a homeless man. He won a scratch off for $1 million.
Wow.
Took the 800,000 less the taxes. They do the standard 20% taxes, which wasn't enough. He owed money back to the IRS, and he didn't have 10 cents in his name, and it was less than 6 months. Money was all gone.
Wow. Was
Yeah.
he driving
And
around in a big Bentley
yeah,
or something
so
like that?
yeah, and people do that in business where they just, they're doing good, they're charismatic, they're doing wonderful, and they sell everything, but yet they don't want to deal with the other end, and they don't realize how easy it is, to find somebody that'll work with them. And you pay a little bit of money to us, and we keep you on the track, and you can sleep at night.
Wow. Very good.
But there's a lot of that goes on. I mean, the business person who does it the right way can't fathom it, because it would keep you up at night.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, it's Carolle Ryan. Text Carol to 21,000. My name's Gabe O'Neill. Of course, if you want to learn anything about the digital business cards, you can text Gabe to 21,000. I think we both have our calendars right on the card.
Yes,
Let's talk about the collaboration forum for a little bit.
sure.
We have every month now, we have something called the collaboration forum, where we invite the public to come and meet a bunch of digital card owners who are speaking about different subjects. And as I recall, you're speaking again
Yes,
this
I
month.
am.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. And I'm going to talk this time a little bit about taxation
Okay.
and some of
So
the
yeah,
things
and
people
so
can
that
do.
would be a great opportunity to come in and ask Carol some questions about, because the way our collaboration forums work are, it's not just the person speaking. They only speak for about the first 10 minutes, and then the rest of the time is allotted for not just questions but discussions on how if other people can chime in on how things have helped their business, et cetera, et cetera. So if you do have any questions about that, that's on the 22nd of March. You can text the word forum to 21,000. And again, the system might be down for a bit, but you'll get the link later on today. You can text forum to 21,000 to get more information on the collaboration forum. And there'll be 10 speakers, 5 rooms that you can, and 2 speakers per room, and you can move among the rooms as at will. So it's really kind of a unique platform, and yeah, which we can go from there. So anyway, well, I appreciate you coming, Carol. I appreciate you getting on with us, and we'll see you in the forum in a couple of weeks, and we'll also see you around with at the M3 events, because it's another networking group that we both are involved with. So
Okay. Well, and don't forget the power hour.
Right. On Thursdays we have the power
Yes.
hour. So if you want to, I mean, again, our digital card has so many different layers of value just get on my calendar so I can tell them all about you, even the ones that I've forgotten.
And for me, your card is wonderful because I never leave home without it.
Very good. Well, I appreciate
Mhm.
it. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, Carol. We'll talk to you soon. We'll see everybody next week. Mondays live at 11.
Thanks, Gabe.